disappears with two people who have a criminal record. My son at that time was with the wrong people and in the wrong place. I don't know what happened to him. We miss him a lot. We are broken. We are sad. What you experience when a loved one disappears is the most painful thing you can go through. Because every day you're asking those questions, every day you're asking the same questions.
In our country, cases of disappearances and violence do not distinguish between gender or social status. We often witness tragedies where people lose their loved ones in acts of violence or face stories that challenge our understanding and humanity. So today we will hear the story of Rocio Maribel Aranda Guillen, a mother whose life changed forever after the disappearance of her son, Oscar Englingberg. Aranda Guillen, a young man originally from here, from Nuevo Leon, who went out with his friends and unfortunately was never seen again.
My name is Rocio Maribel Aranda Guillen, mother of Oscar Englingberg Aranda Guillen. I'm here to talk about my son. He disappeared on May 7th, 2023, in the municipality of Guadalupe, Nuevo Leon. My son and two others vanished. Since that day, we know nothing about them. We have done everything possible to try to locate them or find out what happened to them. And well, I come to tell a bit of the story of what happened that day. That day, my son was outside our home and he was on the porch with his friends. Afterwards, they stayed up until dawn, and then this neighbor who lives about 4 houses down came over from their house and he stays with Oscar. His friends leave. Then another young man named Steven arrives and they continue at the house. There they keep drinking. Then my mother comes out, asks if Oscar is going to go into the house. And he tells her yes, that he was about to go in to go to bed. Then more time passes and he continues outside with these young people. And from there, well, morning comes. Then from there, my mother goes out again and sees Nestor's mother, our neighbor, already with them chatting with my son, Oscar, drawing their attention, because by then, I think they had to go home and they had been at his house. And then my mom comes out and realizes and says, well, that's it. Get inside now, Oscar. And Oscar, he said, yes, Grandma, but Oscar already looked different. Was I more drunk? Had I consumed any drugs? And as a result of that, well, he leaves. During the day, Mom does her chores, picking up trash, what was on the porch. And then my mom has to leave. My sister picks her up and they greet Oscar, my sister, my brother-in-law, my niece, but they said Oscar looked very strange. Afterwards, my mom leaves and tells Daniel, my other son, Oscar's brother, to take care of his brother, right? Because he should go in. He says, yes, I'm going to be here, Grandma, I'm going to be attentive. About Oscar. And in the end, well, Daniel, in his activities, the phone, what he had to do, watching games, he realizes that Oscar goes to Nestor's house, which is like 3 or 4 houses away. And then my son leaves because he has a soccer match. And he sees that his brother is also leaving the area where we live. And he asks him, where are you going? He says, we'll be right back. We won't be long. So Daniel approaches the bus stop. A bus passes by and my son gets on the bus. And then from there, he knows nothing more about Oscar. My son is seen leaving the sector around 2 in the afternoon or so. And he's accompanied by Nestor and Steve. The cameras capture them and they see them get into a Didi, which is a black spar. And from there, they leave the neighborhood. They head to another neighborhood in the municipality of Guadalupe. And from there, they are captured. With the cameras where they cross a street that is a very busy street. Then they are seen in other recordings where they enter a residence and also leave. It is also seen that other people leave that residence and look to see where they are going. Then another person comes out and 5 or 7 minutes pass. According to what the cameras record, 5 people gather and they keep looking over there. Then everyone goes their own way. The young people who left return home. And after that, there is nothing to guide us or give us a clue to know what happened to my son and those young people who are still missing to this day.
Time passed and Oscar did not return, which set off his family's alarm. Despite being a sociable, active young man with friends, he had never been away for so long without any contact. His disappearance did not fit with his way of being, like a kind of sixth sense. Then Rocio couldn't get the idea out of her head that something bad had happened to him. However, the most disturbing thing was to find out that some of these young people were not the, let's say, so innocent company they appeared to be. The lady discovered that several of them had dark backgrounds linked to problematic behaviors and even rumors of connections with illicit activities.
Oscar was working in a print shop. He had been at a print shop for a short time. He was doing advertising because I remember that at that time there were many campaigns and he was working there in the print shop. The other young people, well, I didn't know much about them. I didn't really know what their lifestyle was like or anything. Later on, as time goes by and the investigations progress, I start to understand a little bit about who they were, right? Here we have tried to search everywhere. Because the day my mother told me that Oscar didn't come home, which was Monday morning, we were left. Yes, it did impact us because it had never happened before that Oscar didn't come home. And the first thing I did was approach Nestor's mom to ask if she knew anything. We found it strange that Oscar didn't come home since it had never happened before. Then I tried to communicate with her and I started to say, no, well, my son hasn't come home either, she says. Yes, I also had no contact with him, she says, but that's very normal. For her, it was very normal for that to happen. For her, it wasn't an alert or concern because it had already happened. I say yes because it was a first-time experience for me. Stephen's mom, no, because she is. I didn't know if Stephen had parents or not because as I tell you, I didn't know him. I didn't even know where Stephen lived. I later found out that Stephen, he used to wander around. He didn't have a fixed place. I didn't know if Stephen had parents or not. Later on, the one who informs me that he does have a family is Nestor's mom. She tells me, no, he does have a mom. He does have a dad. They are separated, but I can contact them or let them know. Well, no, I don't know. They didn't have a job. As far as I know. They didn't have a job. And yes, they were dragging along some, criminal records. Well, one of them had a detention order, which is the biggest one. So this one was supposed to not be able to leave the area. I don't know how many meters they allow something like that. And maybe, I don't know, maybe. We believe with the movies, you can see that you can detect them or something, or I don't know. But I really don't know much about them so far. What's going on with this? Because, I didn't know that my son, to begin with, they weren't my son's friends. It was that day, maybe they hung out and everything, but I don't know more about them. I only know that now, their mother also, at first she supported me by accompanying me to the areas where she believed her son could be. Well, she also went to ask on her part to some delegation until the jail here in Nuevo Leon to see if they had been detained because he had a detention order. And for my part, I was trying to get close to Oscar's lifelong friends, asking if they knew or had heard anything. That same day, I tried to use all and cover all the time doing this, calling Locatel, asking the hospitals if something had happened. that truth, maybe I could find him that way. And then I tell her, Anna, I'm going to put the missing person report. And this was on the 8th, the 9th. She tells me, we're not going to wait. We're going to look for them. Maybe they show up, and I would tell her that I can't. I feel very desperate. It's too much. Dekar's phone is off. I have nothing. And the phones of the other young people were also off. Well, we need to file the complaint quickly so that the authorities can do their job and help us. Exactly. She tells me, no, wait, I don't know what. I said no. The next day, I got up very early. I left. I checked the schedules to go to CODE to file my complaint. I was the first to file the complaint. I did it on May 10th, exactly. There I shared everything I knew and what had happened that night. The evening of May 7th, everything that, based on what my mother told me, I knew too. What Nestor's mom told me. And then from there, we made the complaint form, the complaint to file the search report for my son. And from there, we have tried to have some contact or some information, asking people to help us, spreading the word with the search reports, approaching the neighborhood where he disappears in the company of those young people to see if we can get any information, trying to continue doing the searches among friends and looking for information that would guide us to see if we know anything about them. It has also been very difficult because I know that the authorities do their job, but I also feel that there is a lot of negligence. There is a lot to do because searches can be expedited, right? Expand this investigation a little more and take it to the limit and help us to know, because I mean, you can, in that house where they come out, you can get there, interview. Yes, it was done, but keep insisting because maybe they saw something and can help us to know what happened to my son and those young people. And well, I've been looking for him. I joined the Nuevo Leon Searchers Collective in order to gain a bit more knowledge and the support of the colleagues who help you to ask for what is missing in the investigations. They advise you, they provide you with support. And well, from there I am with them. And well, I try to go to all the marches, to the searches that are done here in the state. Well, trying to find some way to have some information to know where my son is. What happened to him? Because there is nothing, and I would like to say, well, he was seen in this part after, but no, there is nothing that tells me Oscar was seen a week later on this side, or they told me they were seen in such a part. But I've never heard anything like that.
From that moment on, Mrs. Rocio clung to the search with all the love of a mother and the courage that only someone who has lost a child without explanation can understand.
Well, the first thing is I didn't go directly to the prosecutor's office. I went to the CODE, which is in the municipality of Guadalupe. It's also part of the prosecutor's office, but I think they link us completely up to there. Yes, there weren't many people when she arrived to make the complaint. It was a virtual complaint because they made us a virtual complaint. They take us to the office and it's a virtual complaint. And that's where one starts to provide everything, you know. After that, they give me a search card. And it's the one that from the moment I had it, I started to share it, to start moving it around, to spread the word. Try to share it among the people, showing pictures of my son to see if anyone knew or had seen my boy or any of the young people who disappeared with him. And well, when I arrive at the prosecutor's office in the state of Nuevo Leon, well, they do take your complaint, they ask you the questions, they start to work. The first few months were indeed very busy, that I have to say. Yes, they were busy. Yes. They approached homes to look for people, to interview people, to try to find something that related to the young people. Mostly on the side of Nestor and Stephen, because they were like that. Those who brought more attraction, to see if anything about their disappearance came from there. But after that, the investigation completely shuts down and progress was diminishing. The interviews or the prosecutor's office appointments, well, they were getting a bit more delayed. I have an investigation folder with access to my phone. Every day is about checking to see if something new, different is uploaded. Besides making a presence at the prosecutor's office, trying to see if there are advances in the investigations, asking for a personalized search, which did take a long time to give me in the neighborhood where my son disappears. I was asking for it since the collective arrived. It took them a year to give me a search in the area where my son disappears, to check in the streams, in the rivers, in the fields or southern courts of football, so that people would ask to see if they approached us or gave us something. But a year, 3 months did pass.
Rocio shares with us that one of the hardest battles she has faced has not only been the search for her son, but the way the authorities have handled her case. When asking for follow-up, she has felt judged and minimized, not only because her son is a male, but also because of her social status and her son's history of substance use, as well as that of his companions.
Yes, they are. The truth is, yes, they are. And more so because he disappears with 2 people who have a criminal history. So a judgment is made. They tell you, no, we look for them equally here, but I think a judgment is made on them, believing they were. The 3 related with something criminal or because they were using drugs. I think that, yes, that sometimes they are not given priority. Seeing what they bring behind, they tell you here, we all look for each other equally and everything, but I see that there are differences. There are differences because they think that, as people say, that sometimes there are good or positive comments, they were doing wrong, they looked for it or something. And I don't speak for these young people because I'm nobody to make a judgment about them. But I speak for my son, because many people knew him and know what Oscar is like. They know that Oscar, well, was not involved in anything illicit, that maybe he is a boy who drank on weekends, that maybe he used a drug, but he was not a boy who was around or belonged to any gang or group that you would say, well, it's something to be alert about. As a mother, I would notice my son spent every week at home. He came from work. If he had soccer matches, he would go to the soccer matches. My mother would make them dinner. My mom was always there. And if they didn't leave the house, they would play video games. He wasn't one to hang out on the streets or be somewhere else. Everyone is in a small sector. That's where most of his friends are. My son is there. They have always been there. One of them had a drug dealing. One of them did have that charge. I realized later, when I start to get out of the investigation folder and from the follow-up, all 3, for example, in my case, I check to see if there are any developments or if there is someone who will go and make a statement or to see what their families can contribute. But yes, one of them was involved in drug dealing. He had a restraining order in the neighborhood where we live from his girlfriend and the other boy. Well, he did have a record of theft reports and things like that. Yes, I've always said it and I'll say it again. My son at this moment was with the wrong people and in the wrong place. I'm unsure what happened to my son. I want to know what occurred to him. Because it's almost been 2 years and I haven't had anything to help me find out what has happened to my son. I don't know if something happened to him, if they took him away. I don't know. I don't know anything. There is nothing in the investigation, nothing that leads to a direct line that can help us know what happened to them.
Mrs. Rocio has made it clear that she only longs to find her son, to find answers in his case, and to stop living in the hell of uncertainty, as thousands of searching mothers do in this country.
As a mom, well, I've made up 1,000 stories in my head. One of them, well, I say maybe they were drunk, they fought or something, and they did something to him, but then I say they too. Nothing is known about them. They are missing, I say maybe to them. Did any of them bring... Well, someone was looking for them because of the lifestyle they led, and, well, they could have done something to them, I don't know. Sometimes I also think, I say yes. If someone had seen something, or they also moved from the colony. And in another colony where they don't know them, well, something happened to them, or from there, someone took them away. I don't know the truth. I don't know. I would like to know about what I have been searching for all the time that I have been through this, to really know what happened to my son. Well, it's just my son. Young people disappear. And because of that, I say any information about any of them can also help so that I can know what happened to Oscar. But to this date, there is nothing. Neither from the interviews that have been conducted, nor from the people who have been questioned. There is nothing. I mean, it's something that you say, or people don't want to help us. They don't want to help us out of fear of what is happening in the state, in the country. Or simply I say, oh, it's a neighborhood where they disappear, or where one of them grew up and his family also lives there. I mean, the only other option is that they don't disappear in that neighborhood, that they have gone to another neighborhood somewhere else. But, well, I've created many stories in my head, the most tragic ones, even those with the most hope in life. Right. Well, I always look for my son in life, always through that. I've never been religious. I've always been a believer. And, well, prayer, believing in God is what has given me the strength to be well today. Because, well, I've also found myself in moments where I lost all hope and I didn't feel like going on. I didn't feel like going on because I was caught by sadness, depression. And, well, it's very complicated to live every day with anguish, with fear, not knowing where your son is. It's very sad to wake up sometimes, or enter the house, or enter the room and see his empty bed, his things. You start to cry and you see the pictures, you say, I don't want to forget my son's face. I don't want to forget his smile or his eyes, nothing. Every day, him. I ask God to give me the opportunity to have some information that can help me, to be able to know what happened to Oscar, or to be able to find him. I spread his search file as much as I can on social networks. I try to be present in all the searches, in the marches, to make him present, so that his image can be seen by many people, so that someone can recognize him or tell me what happened to him. And, well, always with the hope of finding him alive, that he comes back home, that if he's unwell, we can help him heal, that he knows we love him very much, that we miss him a lot. Not only did he leave, but the joy of the house, of the family left with him. We are broken, we are sad.
We all miss him, his brother, me, his dad, his grandmother. Guilt and uncertainty are constant companions in the life of those who are looking for a missing loved one. The lady confesses to us that since Oscar's disappearance, there isn't a single day where she doesn't question herself. She wonders if there was any sign she overlooked, if she could have done something more, if a different decision would have changed the course of events or her story.
Right now, we're doing well, thank God, as I tell you. But it has been very difficult because everyone has experienced their absence in different ways. Some trying to be stronger than others, others more broken. But mom feeling guilty, thinking that she should have intervened and that she should have chased the boys away. Me too, for not being at home. Danny says, it can only be my brother. He said he was coming now and I believed him. My husband, well, seeing us all destroyed with all the pressures that he brings too. His job, seeing me in my hardest, most difficult moments. He has been one of the people who has seen my crises, my fears, my anxieties, even my moments of anger, because I feel frustrated. Sometimes I feel very angry because there is no progress in the research, because I can't do more. I have tried to do everything possible. God knows I haven't stopped. I keep looking for him. I keep asking people to empathize, to help us, to touch their hearts. That can give me some information, something to guide me to know about Oscar.
With the help of the search group from Nuevo Leon, Rocio found valuable moral support. Women who, like her, share the same pain, the same struggle, and the same hope. Among silent hugs and looks that say it all, she discovered that she was not alone in her ordeal. However, she also admits that participating in these searches has been challenging.
Because you're never prepared. For me, what I live, maybe I think that some of my colleagues have gone. We know they tell us there's a search and we all want to participate, we all want to go. But you're up all night thinking, in my case, I can't sleep. I get filled with anxiety, with fear. Also, searches are to find someone, to be able to bring someone home. But we all want to find our children alive, right? But when we are in the field, well, we turn around. Others, because we do everything possible to try to move even the smallest corner of trash. If we see something strange among the stones or the earth, we try to do everything possible to rule out that there is nothing. Because it's hard to go on a search. It's very difficult because you go with the hope of being able to help all of us find peace, because that's the intention. Help us to find peace, to help heal, to find our pieces of life that we love so much and to be able to bring them home. We search in life, but we are also not there. Dismissing the other possibility, right? And well, I think we all go with fear because I don't know if it happens, but sometimes you see a garment and you say, no, I don't recognize it. Are you talking about the colleagues who also see them dismissing that they are not? And it's very difficult because, yes, sometimes it's tiring, but more emotionally because you have to make yourself strong and do everything possible to clear the ground. The place you go, the river where you have to go, well, there you go. The first search, I did it about 4 months after Oscar disappeared. I joined the collective in the 3rd month. And then a search was opened and I wanted to be present. My family kept telling me, no, not yet. It's not the time. You're not ready. You're emotionally unwell. That's going to affect you, daughter. Don't go. And they say, don't look for Oscar there. Oscar is alive. We all say, don't look for Oscar. He's not alive there. I tell them, no, I'm going to do everything possible because it's a different place. Can I bring the picture of my son, the shirt? I collaborate with my colleagues. I keep teaching myself. I learn from them and I introduce myself. At the first search, I arrive obviously all nervous. I didn't even know how searches were conducted. We arrive and well, the first thing your tools as a searcher is a shovel, a pick. I grab a pick. I set off with one of the colleagues because she already has a little more experience, so to speak. And I start the search and I see some bones and I'm surprised and I say I was filled with terror, but I said, God, listen, here is a bone. It's getting closer. People who know about bones and they tell me, no, this is from an animal. They begin explaining everything to you. But the first time was very shocking for me because I said, we've already found someone. It's from someone, from a person. And well, yes, it scared me a lot. I would tell her later, no, look, you're going to come across a lot of bones. Maybe we're going to dig, and there are places where it's very stinky and foul. But we're going to have to learn to differentiate between the smell of a dead little animal and a person. So I say it's one of the things I haven't been able to decipher with smells or anything. But the bones, well, I say these sizes, well, they belong to a cat. It's from a dog or it's from a horse or something. Because you start to soak up that the bones are of different shape, texture to those of an animal, to those of a person. And well, there you are among the garbage, digging holes, the truth. Sometimes you end up scratched because you get into very tired sometimes. The companions. Yes, we pause briefly, but persist. But what we want is to take advantage of that day and expand as much as we can. From the part where they ask us, is there a possibility of finding someone? We try to do everything possible to comb the entire area and rule out that we didn't miss anything. Then after, I tell you, then after, it's not that you lose the fear because every day there's a search, it's the same anxiety. Does it give you that terror? Because I say, as mothers, we don't want to find our children like this, but we have to do it sometimes that way because there's no other way. Once ruled out, there's no other way to find someone else. That's always why there's terror. That's why I have anxiety because I always think, now I think it not the first few months, but now I think it because I say, is it, how can he just vanish without a trace? There's nothing at all like that hope to life. And not because I've lost faith or hope. I'm still waiting for it in my life, but I'm also open to the possibility that maybe one day I can see my son's garment or something that identifies him. And yes, I mean, I don't want it to happen. I don't know what my reaction will be. I don't know how I'm going to react, but I try to keep it in mind to be prepared in case it happens. But I have seen interviews, and all mothers still have hope. All mothers feel that they are still alive. And well, I say maybe we all are going to feel that because it's what nourishes us and fills us with energy to not give up. I tell everyone you can live a mourning, you can live it. It's painful because you're losing someone you love. You can live it. But not knowing anything about the person you love is very desperate. It's very frustrating because everyone says it. Do you recommend God so that their life continues to be present? But they also arrive, all those things that are being experienced, because you soak up everything right now. You soak up everything. You search in life, you search in places, you search here, you search there, you search in videos, you search everywhere, in everything that has to do with something. That one is present. And you hurt yourself emotionally, you hurt yourself a lot because you see things that you shouldn't see, right? But you do it to see if you identify or see something in particular. But the truth is, this that is experienced when a loved one disappears. It's the most painful thing you can go through, because every day you are with this desperation, with this sadness, with this anguish. Because sometimes the winter nights come hard and you say, what if he doesn't have a shelter? If he's homeless, where can he find shelter and food? Are they doing something to him? Is he alive or something? Or if my son is in bad shape, or he's lying on the street, or he's lost his mind, every day you're asking those questions, every day you're asking the same questions. And you ask God with all the strength of your being to give you the opportunity to see him again or to find him. My son disappears. He was wearing a Tigers shirt just that day. That day was one of the semifinals. I remember the semifinals where the Tigers were. They were going to play that Sunday afternoon, and Oscar was wearing his Tigers shirt, blue with yellow, black shorts and black Adidas flip-flops. He took his phone because his wallet, he left at home. His identification was at home. His money was at home. So Oscar only stayed with his phone. When he contacted Nestor's mom, she tells me I don't remember well. I didn't check, but I think she kept Nestor's phone because she knew it was out of battery. And she saw a story that Nestor posted on his phone on the WhatsApp status that same day, where they upload the story, where they take a photo, him, Stephen, and Oscar. Then he tells me they were offering this slave and shows me a photo. I say that's Oscar's slave. My son's slave is made of silver and has his last name, Miranda, on it. And he asks me, is it that they were offering it? Nestor offered it to a boy at the Juarez market. So I told him, well, that's my son's bracelet. Why were they offering it? No, well, I didn't know. I remember we also went to the Juarez market to ask his boy, and she says, hey, haven't you seen Nestor? Didn't he come here? Nestor? He denied being here, but then she showed him the photos, and there's Oscar, and he has the slave. The wife tells the boy, this slave they were selling to you, right? And I turned around and said, yes, Nestor offered it to me. And then I paid a lot of attention and said, which slave? Well, this boy's Oscar's. And then he told me, yes, they offered it to me and everything, but I didn't buy it from them. I only have to do it here through WhatsApp. And the mom, she said, well, maybe he saw it. We went to the market to expose it. Maybe he didn't see it either, but he did say that he had offered it to him, my son's slave. Well, I don't know if it was to continue the binge, to buy a drug, or they had already taken it away or something. I really don't know. I don't know. I just know that it also struck me as odd why offer Oscar's slave. Yes, well, they brought, phones. Oscar brought a phone. I mean, they give you a bit more money for a phone. I mean, Oscar, he still had money in his wallet. I don't know if Oscar would have said, well, I want to sell it. I mean, he really liked his slave. They wouldn't have offered or sold her. He had money in his wallet. So, I mean, did something happen to that slave? I don't know any, it's not blackmail, it's like extortion from people who sometimes see the search file. And they call you from other states to ask for money or to tell you that they have him or that they are going to put you in touch with him. But in the end, it's a lie. It's a lie. You're exposed like this in parts on social networks to fall into this type of people who are dedicated to scamming. And they don't touch the soul, the heart plays and profits from the pain of others. It happened to me, not very high amounts, but enough for them to give me some information, and it turned out to be a lie. Later on, joining the collectives from other states through social networks. Are you learning and seeing a list of people who are dedicated to extortion? You upload profiles where you help others not to fall into that kind of extortion, right? And you help yourself too, because you start identifying all those people who send you messages just to take advantage of someone. For example, our children, my missing son. Outside of there is no information or threat. No one has told me anything. Nor have I been asked for money, because there is a kidnapping. There is nothing, as I told you at the beginning. I would like to have more information, but I have not gotten anything. Nothing from any of the three people. I don't know anything that can help us, because I remember that before I used to see the search reports, and it made me very sad. I felt sadness every time I saw one and thought about how devastated the mothers must be. Even today, I had to live through this, and I don't want anyone else to go through what you go through with the absence, the disappearance of a loved one. Be empathetic. Support us by sharing your search files. If you know or have any information, let us know. We're not looking for someone to blame here. We're just looking for someone to help us get a lead, to find out what happened to Oscar or those young people. If they can help, do it anonymously, but let it touch their heart. My Facebook page, I have it all. How should I say? I have shared it in all the Facebook groups I find. It's very visible because every day I share my son's profile. He's Oscar Engilbert Arandagilin. I always put them in my stories. I share it on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere. It's always like making him present so that someone might recognize him, or someone who knows something or who has seen something one day can share that information with us so we can know what happened to my son or those young people. Also, if they want to do it to the collective, send a message from a searcher of Nuevo Leon if they appear on social networks, or directly to the prosecutor's office, the numbers that appear in the search cards.
Remember that these videos are uploaded on Mondays and Wednesdays on Pepe Misterio's channel, and you can also find them on the Facebook page, where you can find me as Pepe Misterio. Remember that if you were a victim of any injustice and you need to raise your voice, you can contact me at email at pepemisterio.com.mx. You can contact me via Facebook. On Messenger, I'm known as Pepe Misterio, and on Instagram, you can also find me as Pepe Misterio Mex or Pepe Misterio Documentaries.